What's up guys, Kyokai1994 here, gonna talk to you about anything, you guessed it, Dragon Ball. From Ball to Z and everything in between, I am back on the channel again to talk more Dragon Ball side stories with a special guest. And recently I released a video talking about side stories that I wanted to see that had to do with hell inside the Dragon Ball universe. And that kind of opened my brain more into thinking about realms in the Dragon Ball universe and just kind of like what I want to see come from them. We won't be talking about a full realm inside today's talk, but since the last episode had to do with hell, we're now going to travel to the other side of Otherworld, and we're going to talk about a very important fella, a very funny fella from the north. But first I want to introduce back to the channel again, you guys know him, you love him, the Golden Scouter. What's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing? It is I, the Golden Scouter.
Yep. Great intro. Keep doing that in every single one of them. I don't know if you're ever gonna add music or anything, but you could always put a nice little musical track behind that. But
yeah, kind of like a wrestling promo or something like that.
Bum ba dum bum. Yeah, exactly. No, but so me and Scouter are gonna be here today for a few minutes to give you guys our thoughts on some ideas of the King of Gods, jokes, and sweet cars. He resigns in the north of Universe 7, and I guess you guys already read the title, you saw the thumbnail, you know it is Kaio-sama himself, or King Kai for those who watch the dub, and these are going to be the situations that we'd like to see him put in, and the new things that we want to be told about his character to explain him and make him even better. But me and Scouter, like I said, have come up with a couple ideas, and mainly, man, the very first one that I really want to see, I want to see how the powerful King Kai met his faithful companion Bubbles, and in the filler, Gregory. I really would be interested in seeing how they got to the planet, why they got to that planet, if King Kai created them by any chance, just to have, you know, somebody else on the planet with him, or just see how they got there, because there's got to be some kind of interesting story, and I really don't feel that it is going to be Bubbles was the strongest monkey of the monkey kind, so that's why he got to come, like, you know, train with King Kai. I feel like there's probably something more into his comedy background that might bring the monkey towards his land of realms. But I don't know what you think about seeing any of the depth building with Bubbles and Gregory themselves.
Yeah, so with Bubbles, honestly, like you were saying, like that Bubbles might have been introduced in some way with comedy or something like that. I don't know. The thing is with Bubbles is that he doesn't really seem to be as sentient as Kaio. Like, it's not like he can speak or anything like that. So he almost kind of comes off like he's Kaio's pet or something like that. Like that there's like these like monkey I don't know what to call it, like maybe somebody was selling monkeys like the bubble monkey or whatever it's called, like how people sell dogs on the side of the road. And Kaio was just like, oh, I want to pick up one of these guys as a pet. But with Gregory, it seems a little bit different, because Gregory has to be voluntarily there, because there's no reason for him just to be there on his own free will, unless if there's this whole thing of like, oh, there's like these crickets, kind of like how there are like Gurs like on Invader Zim, and like every alien has a robot assigned to them, and maybe every Kaio has like a cricket assigned to them. But I honestly think that it would be cool to see how Kaio might have gotten Gregory's respect. Maybe at some point Kaio was a really funny comedian, because whenever we see him over just the first time we see him, he gets pretty upset whenever Goku doesn't laugh at his joke. So that kind of tells me, like...
Also that he's there to actually learn how to battle instead of learn the way of comedy. He does get upset at that as well.
Yeah, so that kind of tells me that maybe Kaio did have a really successful comedy career at one point, but like a lot of comedy, like, there's different eras of comedy, and there's some jokes that were funny 30 years ago that we would just groan at today. So to me, that kind of tells me, like, hey, like, Kaio might have been like a really good stand-up comedian or something like that. And then he might have just gotten washed up after either just being around the game for so long, or just his jokes being so corny after a while. Because, I mean, it seems like Kaio is the only one who genuinely laughs at his own jokes.
Yeah, everybody else does it out of pity or not at all. And the other thing about that is he probably was, like, you know, in the realm for years, like, just making other Kais laugh and making, you know, King Yima himself laugh. But, I guess at one point he definitely had to take the turn of wanting to be more of a teacher of martial arts, because I know that Goku, well, the way they talk about it, I don't know actually, but the way they talk about it seems like Kaio-sama had actually trained several people before Goku, and that's something really interesting to see as well, because not only do they have Snake Way to run as their test to actually get his techniques and his teachings of the martial arts way, there's other things that they have to overcome, and then when they get there, they have to overcome, you know, the gravity being different, and then they have to go through, you know, training with Gregory and everything, but it would be really interesting to see the humble backgrounds of that, and I know that that's something you wanted to speak upon, so I'll let you bring that up.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I really want to know is, like, how did he get over to that planet that he's at? Like, do every Kaio has their own serpentine road or something like that? Because, I mean, I mentioned earlier about how maybe Kaio might have been washed up from comedy, but he's still definitely respected in the universe that he's in, because whenever we hear about him from the little demons, or not even demons, but just the people who, like, check in on people in the afterlife, they speak pretty highly about him, and Kami speaks pretty highly about him. Even in that sense, I kind of want to know, like, how Kami and Kaio are kind of connected. That's just something that really interests me. I really want to know, like, why also he isn't a straight up Kaio Shin and just a Kaio. That's also another thing that really piques my interest.
Maybe it was his interest in comedy that didn't let him be the Supreme Kai of his realm. But going along with humble beginnings and everything that you're speaking of it, I mean, just seeing him learning the techniques on his planet, because he, from what they say in Battle of the Gods, is at one point he did create a bigger world that Beerus, you know, destroyed most of. So after he created his world, one, why did he create it in that spot off of, you know, Snake Way? But what caused him to need to know more techniques? Because, I mean, he is not in the mortal realm. He is in the other world. And, I mean, we see the Supreme Kais learning how to fight, but they have to take care of more things than, you know, just these regular Kais have to. They really just have to look over their portion of the universe, and it's not more fighting that they do, it's more like telekinesis of, hey man, you should probably do this to save your world. And I would really like to see why he got into the techniques that he teaches Goku and how he actually made them. Maybe after he counted, you know, all the blades of grass on his planet after millions of trillions of years, he decided, hey, I can take some energy from them and, you know, put it into a ball and kind of, you know, throw it at things. This seems interesting. Or, you know, just the whole Kaioken thing. Like, what did he have the necessity of having to go 2 times his power for? And what is his power? Those would all be things that I would really like to see them dive more into. It's not really shown at all. It's shown off screen, or it's told about from off screen. So we see some training, but we don't get to see him fully teaching the way that we've seen Whis or Beerus teach Goku and Vegeta in the new series of Dragon Ball Super. So that would be something that I would really want to see from that.
So you really do bring up a good point about him, like, training all these people, because one of the things is, I can't imagine that there's Dragon Balls on every single jurisdiction of the universe. So to me, it's just like, who did he train that was capable enough to reach him in his place, or just on his planet? Because Serpentine Road took Goku months to travel on, and if Goku wasn't dead, and they wasn't for the fact that he didn't need to eat, he would have never reached that place. So to me, it's just, if you're alive, how can you possibly reach that place? And then at the same time go back to where you need to go and still remain alive and all that. I mean, it kind of brings this question because we see Kami being able to travel between the afterlife and just the living realm. So to me, that kind of brings up a question of who is Kaio training? Like, is he training dead fighters? I mean, are these fighters going back to go and protect their world? Those are all interesting questions that I'd love to know.
Yeah, because, I mean, there are other characters that can travel between realms, like Baba and everything. So, I mean, like, there are living mortals that can get to that realm, but even to get to Kaio-sama's planet, not only the travel and the, journey of Snake Way, but you also have to be lucky enough to keep your body, because 99% of all people who go to Otherworld or the Afterlife in the Dragon Ball realm or the Dragon Ball universe, they're just souls. Only a small percentage of good people who did good things for their world to protect it get to keep their body so that they can, continue to train in the afterlife just to, I guess, train. And Kaio-sama not only training Goku, but in the show, training like Yamcha, Piccolo, Tien, and Chaozu and everybody.
Piccolo being revived is another thing too, because Piccolo didn't exactly do good deeds, but he was allowed to keep his body.
Yeah, it's kind of, and Vegeta also got to keep his body. There are some exceptions to that completely good rule. Well, I guess not completely good, but it's more of like I guess your actions of what you did on the world instead of more of your moral justification of where you should be in the afterlife. But him having to train all these warriors, or being shown training these warriors in the show, led to a filler arc that I actually really enjoyed myself, but I would assume is not the very first one, and I would really like to see Kaio-sama training a small group of people to do the Otherworld tournament. That would be very interesting to me, to see the Universe 7 Otherworld tournament, and just the kind of situations that he's thrown into training these new people. Maybe there's some kind of stakes on the fight, like during the one we see in the filler, it's his planet is on the line, even though it's been blown up, and that's not told, but it's still still his wager is his section of the universe. So it would be really interesting seeing what the stakes might be for that tournament, and his interaction with people who aren't Goku, since these are side stories. It's more revolved around Kaio-sama and his teachings of these new kids that he wants to win for, like I said, X prize. So it'd be really interesting to see that, and I feel we could see a lot more of his humor and his puns when we have a story that's more based around him than it is around Goku.
Yes, I mean, I love the whole idea of him training a bunch of fighters to do the Otherworld tournament. I really think that, I mean, at the end of the day, maybe it could really be just to stick it to the other Kaios that he doesn't like. And even then, it doesn't even have to be fighting. Like we said before, Goku, whenever he arrived over to Kaio's planet, Kaio thought, oh, this guy's coming for comedy training or something like that. Maybe Kaio, at some point, taught people to be comedians. So maybe he had, a comedian standoff or something like that. That would be pretty hilarious and funny.
Like a slam comedy rap battle.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I mean, just on... I guess, the last thing I really want to bring up is just Kaio's interest in driving. I would have loved to see, did he, go into, the Otherworld racetrack or something like that? I mean, what is his story about loving driving so much? I mean, he loves it so much that he's willing to drive in a circle just endlessly. I mean, if you look at his planet, it's just one road, and it's just one direction. No turns or anything like that.
Yeah, and then my main thing is, I know that he says that he got bored with, counting the blades of grass and seeing how far he could pee. But, I find it very... amusing that he picked a Chevy Bel Air. And I mean, obviously Akira Toriyama has his interest in vehicles and his interest in drawing them and building models, but King Kai isn't Akira Toriyama, even though it comes from his mind. So it'd be interesting to see what mindset actually put King Kai into, like, you know what would be a good car for me in my one-track road? A Chevy Bel Air. That's what I want. And that would be honestly something really funny to dive into. And they could even dive into that during the, you know, Otherworld tournament. Like, one of the fighters like, man, why is there only one road on this planet? Oh, I just like driving in one line so I don't have to deal with anything. Or like, the Japanese are a big culture in drinking just like we are here in America. So it'd be interesting for him to be like, man, I just like to have some drinks and drive, and I ain't trying to make no turns or anything. That would just be something interesting. And we obviously know that he loves carpentry and building and creating because he's a Kai, and he's shown that he likes rebuilding the planet. Actually, he likes complaining more than rebuilding, but we'll take building as a close second.
And I know I said that this was going to be the last thing I brought up, but I want to see, like, why Kaio was so freaked out about Goku blowing his body up. Did he have a former student who blew his body up? Because that, to me, just sounds like something I'd want to see. Because Kaio being emotional and Kaio having that whole thing of, like, no, don't do this, my student. Like, my student I bonded so much with. That'd be the perfect closure to Kaio's story, in my opinion.
No, yeah. I know that he goes into on the filler about that, it's just about, like, being a god and being alive, but, like, what comes from that stigma of actually being dead as a Kai? And that would be something that'd be really interesting to see. And I feel that all the topics that we've brought up today, even though being funny and small or all being able to be done in one single manga, like, we could do all of these things in one manga, really. It would just be interesting in a fun little way to spend some time to learn more about King Kai and bring some more depth into him, because there's a lot of characters that we don't see dove into in the series, and the Kais, even though they've expanded upon the Kaioshin and you know, the Hakaioshin, the actual, like, gods of destruction more, and their attendants, the angels, it'd be really interesting to dive back a little bit farther, and instead of expanding more outwardly of the universe, expanding the characters we have already within that universe. And it'd be something really interesting, especially with Dragon Ball being off the air for the next little bit. So I do want to thank you guys for wasting your time again with me and the Golden Scouter, talking about our fun side stories that we want to see with Kaio-sama. And I really, really want you guys, if you enjoyed the video, to leave a like on it. And I also want you guys to go down to the description below and hit that link and go check out the Golden Scouters channel. You're gonna find something you enjoy. I promise you, my favorite series on that channel, the Cocktails, will be coming back. Maybe with my help a little bit. Maybe I'll push him into some new drinks. But let's get that series to continue. And I want you guys, again, to subscribe there. You're always going to find something that you're going to enjoy. I want you guys to comment down in the comment section below any Dragon Ball side stories you want to see, or your ideas that you want to see with King Kai, and maybe we will bring them up in a part 2 of this video. I also want you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I just got a new computer, so we are upping production. It's a lot faster than this laptop that I've been using. And my work schedule should be slowing down a bit, and I shouldn't have to work 12-hour days, 6 to 7 days a week anymore. And I want you guys to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, Dokkan videos, discussions. They are definitely coming back to the channel, especially with Super being gone. We'll have a lot to talk about in all of the Dragon Ball universe. So I want to thank you guys again for coming, wasting your time. We always enjoy talking about anything Dragon Ball. I want you guys to have an amazing day, and as always, I'll catch you guys next time.